Pregame.com.
Welcome back to Pregame.tv. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio with Ken Thomson, SportsX Radio here in Las Vegas. NFL action on Sunday. We've got two teams here, Carolina, Buffalo. Both teams played close games last week. Both teams ended up losing last week. But I look at this and I got to say, the public's going to look at the two games, and I think they're going to be more impressed with the Buffalo Bills and what they did in almost beating the New England Patriots. How do you look at this?
It's a tough one because naturally that comes to fruition right away because New England needed that last-second field goal to get the win, and it's New England. It's Brady. Yeah. But let's remember, Seattle, the darlings of last year, team that came oh so close. Now they start out over there in Carolina. The travel didn't take as much toll because it's the first game of the season, but they've got many more trips back to the East Coast. We'll see how good Russell Wilson and Seattle are. But they found a way to win, and Wilson still had good stats, 320 yards passing, and got the big touchdown when they needed it. Not impressed really with Lynch. Needs to do better on the ground this Sunday night against San Francisco at home, but that's another story. I think this is going to be a standout game, and it's a big game for both teams. Carolina on deck. They have the Giants coming into Carolina next week, where the Bills have an in-division game at the Jets. So very important game for both these teams because somebody's going to be 0-2 after this, and both teams had high expectations coming in.
Yeah, I look at that game, both games last week, and to me, I always in the NFL, and especially from week 1 to week 2, I think it's the biggest week where public reaction is more of an overreaction. They see 1 week's game and they etch it in their mind, and it takes them weeks then to change their mind on teams.
Right.
And I think the Buffalo Bills, because of the way they played last week, and it was more, a higher scoring game. Let's face it, the Carolina game was like watching paint dry, a 12-7 game. And the fact, like you said, Brady's the big name in New England and Belichick, the fact that they had them on the ropes and could have beat them, I think the public is now going to be thinking that this Buffalo team is better than they are. And I just think it's a combination of New England might have come in here just a little bit too cocky with, you've got a rookie quarterback, nobody knows anything about. He didn't get to play the entire preseason because he got nicked up a little bit. And, New England's got their own problems with all of their injuries. I look at a game like this, and when I see a team, and I know there's expectations on Buffalo with the new coach and everything, but I still think they're a sub-500 ball club for sure. And when you have a team that's not a good team, and they play their guts out the way Buffalo did and come this close, and you lose, I think it's hard to pick yourself up off the mat the following week.
I agree, and we'll see if they can do it. But thing is, they have another home game. They've got to take advantage of this. Cannot lose back-to-back home games, Marco.
I hear you, but you know what? Hey, this is my free pick. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Make it official. Since I was knee-high to a pup, I would end up, when I see a situation like this, the Buffalo Bills play their guts out, come up close, and don't get there. There's a hangover effect to me. I just can't see the team reaching the same intensity. Plus, we've got a couple other factors. Carolina played a very, very good Seattle football team. I think Seattle was one of the top 3 teams in the league, and they're actually my pick to make it to the Super Bowl from the NFC. That is a great defense. And yes, they only scored 7 points. And yes, they had another costly turnover when they could have went in for the go-ahead and winning touchdown, something that's plagued Carolina the last few years. They seem to be on the wrong side of all of these close games. But I just think there's such a talent gap between these two teams. You look at what Carolina faced last week with Seattle with that stiff defense, and then you look at the Buffalo Bills. This is not the same type of defense. I think Carolina is going to have a much better outing offensively this week. They should be able to move the ball, running the ball. The only thing I don't like about Carolina is they're trying to keep the wraps on Cam Newton, trying to make him be a pocket quarterback. Let the guy do what he does best. He's got to make things happen in the open space when it's there. And I think there'll be a lot of open space in this game. And then I look at what Buffalo actually did last week. We really don't know how good the New England Patriots are and how much the injuries are taking effect on this team. We know they lost a lot of stuff in the offseason. We know Gronk's been out. And then they suffer more injuries in game. I got to think that played a lot of into what we had. Plus, there was really no actual game film on E.J. Manuel. Yeah, you had some stuff in preseason, but Ken, as you know, in preseason football, guys are running a lot of vanilla stuff. Now you actually got some game film, something to game plan for. You saw what he did. I think Carolina, they have the better defense. I think they have the more consistent offense. Maybe Manuel by the season's end will be much better, but he's still making his second NFL start. I'm going to take Carolina. I'm going to lay the points here. I've got Carolina winning 24-13. Should be another low-scoring game for Carolina. I think you'll see a lot of those this year with Carolina, but I like them with their defense to get the win here in Buffalo.
And the other good thing for Carolina is they have film of E.J. Manuel in a game that counts. They didn't have any of that before.
Absolutely. There you go. That's my pick for this one. Take Carolina. We're going to be right back. Ken's going to have a pick NFL game. This one should be a good one. St. Louis at Atlanta. That's up next. Pregame.tv.